Well, good evening everyone. Thank you very much for joining me here tonight with the FGTRL Season 1 of the GT2 Championship. 13 minutes pretty much bang on left to go in free practice here at the Red Bull Ring. And Robert Bjorkman, as he has done so many times, leads the way. Indeed, final race of the season, and I must tell you it is quite close. You might not think it is, but it is quite close at the moment, especially in the drivers. In fact, we can have a quick look at how the drivers' order is stacking up here whilst we lack a little bit of on-track action. Here we go, this is how it's all shaping up at the moment. Robert Bjorkman 60 points ahead of Luke Wilson. Kieran Macy behind in third, 200 points further back. But that fight for the final podium spot is on with Olav Naim. Kieran Macy needs a good result tonight ahead of Naim to maintain that position, I believe. Then we've got in the constructor standings, that's pretty much all decided, unless we have someone in a Porsche turn up and blast past the Mercedes. They just need to score points to finish ahead, but I don't know if we're going to see them here at this race. Back to Robert Bjorkman now. If you are in either chat this evening, feel free to say hello, have a chat with me, talk about what's going on in life as I walk you through the next hour and a half or so of action that we're going to get here. My livery doesn't seem to work. Lyric, are you Night Last, the 101 car? Oh, Michael Pocomandy. I downloaded the only two liveries that I could see in the awesome... I downloaded the only two that I could see in the awesome sim racing. Because I think one of them is Goncalves. Oh no, that's a normal livery. See, that's weird because the one for the Audi has worked. The LP Racing GT2 livery has worked, which is this one. Here we go for Night Last, the CRS Racing one. That's worked. So I don't know why yours hasn't, because I downloaded it and put it into my liveries folder like I do with everything. So I'm not sure why it hasn't worked. Down to 8 drivers. Who have we just lost? Lost someone. Does it work now? I don't think it will start working unless I leave and rejoin the session. Unfortunately. There we go, it was Goncalves that we lost. Everyone in the pit lane, who's that? That's one of the Audis going out. I think it's Kieran Macy, indeed it is, in the K4 Racing. 8 minutes left of free practice. Currently, it looks like the fight for second is going to be where the interest is going to be. Oof, Kieran Macy running it off track there through turns 5. 6 and 7 are a really hard corner here at the Rebel Ring, especially in these GT2 cars, because the car moves around so much, it really doesn't want to take the corners. And the other thing in these GT2 cars is that they're not brilliant on the brakes, which means that when you're doing roughly Mach 4 into turn 3 at the top of the second straight, it's relatively difficult to get them to stop. A little bit sideways there for Kieran Macy, a little bit of wheel spin, not surprising, it is a GT2 car. They spend a lot of their time spinning their wheels. Less drama for Kieran Macy this time through turn 5, and he's a tenth of a second up. Losing a little bit of time now, but possibly setting up for a better run through turn 7. Ooh, not quite, no. Losing time now, Kieran Macy in a straight line. Possibly just a heavier fuel load being out for practice. Gains time at the apex of the penultimate corner, but not on the exit. And it's the same story at the final corner. He's going to cross the line, he's going to be pretty much dead even. If anything slightly down on his lap time. Indeed, that last lap time was 3/100ths slower than previous. But drivers are out there and improving. Kieran Macy unfortunately not quite able to at the moment. Michael Boccomandy improving. Out of turn 3, a tenth up. This would bring him right into that final podium place battle. Oof, slightly deep at turn 4. Finding time again now is Michael Boccomandy. Oh, losing it again as well. These GT2 cars are so hard. There we go, that's a big time find there for Michael Boccomandy, a tenth up now. Kieran Macy, a tenth and a half. Tenth and a half also for Michael Boccomandy. Oh, sideways through the final corner, and there goes all the time. Yeah, ends up almost 3/10 slower. Unfortunate for him. I'll tell you who isn't almost 3/10 slower at the moment, Kieran Macy. That Audi has now come to life. Kieran Macy's lost that time and now he's down again. Really struggling to keep the time through Sector 2. Although I don't think he's the only one that's struggling with that at the moment. Michael Pocomandy is up again. By the way, where is he at the moment? He's coming down towards turn 6 and 7. Oh, that's not the right line. Invalid for Michael Pocomandy. Michael Pocomandy doesn't improve that time out. Here we go, up to 10 driver. Luke Wilson is here. Here we go. Luke Wilson has turned up in the Maserati. No, don't worry, Triple X. I'm going to take a punt here and assume that's either Alex McDavid, Adam McDavid. There we go, I got there in the end. Or Luke Wilson. And all that Adam McDavid needs to do today is get to the end of the race, and Mercedes will have secured their position in the constructors' standings as well, which I'm sure he'd be pretty happy with. Luke Wilson, by the way, straight out on track in that LP Racing Maserati. Really wish I could have raced today. Oh, Chaz, unfortunate man. I'm assuming you're still not feeling great. Yellow flags are out. It's the 626 car of Kieran Macy that's gone around in the final 15 seconds of this free practice session. Luke Wilson might be able to get a whole lap in here. Olav Naim is improving, 2.5 tenths. Michael Pocomandy is improving, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 4 tenths, 3 tenths, 2 tenths. Loses it on the exit of the corner under acceleration, gains a little bit back. Feeling worse. Oh man, that's really, really bad. Really unlucky. Michael Pocomandy still 5 tenths up through the final 2 corners. Found something that's clicked for him this time round. 6.5 tenths up, 5 tenths up, 3 tenths up. This is going to put him up to P2, Michael Pocomandy. Here we go. Boom. Oh, how was that not enough time? Second to fourth are currently separated by, 0.07 of a second. And Luke Wilson hasn't even put a lap in yet. Not a valid one, at least. This is going to be madness. Luke Wilson does put a lap in, a valid lap in, and goes 4 tenths off of Rob Bjorkman. For a first lap, that's scary.
Green light, go, go, go.
Here we go, we're into qualifying. Green light waves, green light shines immediately. And different track conditions, here we go. So we're now sun and cloud rather than just cloud. This will be interesting to see what difference this makes to the overall speeds. Robert Bjorkman already out the pit lane, because of course he is. So we got 20 minutes of qualifying. It's going to be interesting to see how this stacks up. Luke Wilson needs a big win here to be able to work his way back into the fight for the championship. Trying to remember what the cursed point system is for this. First 350, second 320, third 300, fourth 280. Jesus Christ, man. So many points. I know why you did it. I remember why you did it. But it means that I'm having to do big maths, not little maths. So Luke Wilson is currently 60 points behind. So, if he wants to take the championship, he needs to finish... Right, there's going to be a lot of stipulations in this because of how the point system works. If he finishes first through fourth, he needs Robert Bjorkman to either A, not finish, or B, finish from 4th through 10th in those respective in duality with those respective positions. If Luke Wilson finishes first, he needs Robert Bjorkman to finish 4th or below. If Luke Wilson finishes second and Robert Bjorkman doesn't win, he needs Robert Bjorkman to finish anywhere between 5th and 10th, or not finish. If he finishes third, he needs him to finish 8th or lower. If he finishes 7th, it's a tie, and it's whoever has the most wins, I would assume, which actually might still be equal, so I don't know what we do then. And if he finishes 4th, he needs... Yes, if Luke Wilson finishes 4th, he needs Robert Bjorkman to finish 10th, or not finish. If he finishes 9th, again it's a tie, and I don't know what the protocol for that would be. Wins would go to Robert. Okay, that's easy, that makes my life far easier. But Luke Wilson needs a W here. Kieran Macy also, in an ideal world, needs to finish quite comfortably ahead of Olav Naim. And Finlay O'Reilly needs to finish ahead of Michael Pocomandi for the most part as well. In the number 59 Audi, in fact we'll pan to him. Oh, here we go. Kieran Macy's on pole position at the moment. Obviously there's still 15 minutes of the qualifying session left, but he's there. Night Last is having a decent run of things at the moment, coming to the penultimate corners. Robert has 3 wins, Luke has 1. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. Night Last over the line. And is P3 for now. Michael Pocomandi's coming around the last couple of corners. Looks like he's having a decent lap. And Kieran Macy improves there, I believe. Or at least he has improved at some point. Michael Pocomandi goes P3. Luke Wilson is out on track, about to cross the line. Does he go to pole? No. That was an outlap. Cool. Stop the count. Kieran Macy on pole. Yeah, real. Track status is still fast. I don't know if we'll see a I don't know if we'll see an increase on that this session or in the race. It might stay fast the whole time. Oh. Unfortunately, Kieran Macy's no longer on pole. 2 tenths off. Luke Wilson is coming to the line. 101 car is in the pit lane. Luke Wilson is setting up for a new lap. Sacked that one off, clearly wasn't good enough. So here he comes. No one behind him at the moment. Clear track all the way back to Robert Bjorkman, who's just coming through turn 5. Or 6, dependent on what track map you want to use. And how many of the weird bends it names corners. Robert Bjorkman, 10th up, 10th and a half, going to be a 10th across the line, possibly less than 910. 900ths, yeah, it is a 900th improvement, 129.065. Very quick lap times from Robert Bjorkman here, GT3 level lap times from Robert Bjorkman here. Kieran Macy is up, so there is lap time in it, but it was invalid. That was a 29.1. That would have been very, very nice for him. Olav Naim is up in the Rabid Racing Maserati as well. 5 tenths up at the moment. This would put him P3 as it stands. 6 tenths up out the final corner. It's going to be P3. Indeed it is. P3 and just 300ths off the back of Kieran Macy in the Audi. Finley O'Reilly's currently up. Guilherme Goncalves is also up, goes to P7, 1 second off the pace as it stands. Luke Wilson is going to be coming around the final corner any second. In fact, he already has, and he's gone to pole position. By 2 tenths of a second, Luke Wilson takes pole, and that's what he needs here. That is what he needs. Finley O'Reilly improving by 3 tenths of a second. This would put him P5. Michael Poccomandi improving by 3 tenths of a second. This lap, if a big enough improvement comes his way, could move him into the podium fight. Michael Poccomandi comes to the pit lane. Luke has 5 seconds less pit stop time than Robert, so if Luke starts pole and can pull a gap, he might get it. Yeah, just the win wouldn't be enough though. He really would need Robert Bjorkman to suffer some serious misfortune during the race. Not that obviously I want that to happen. I'm just saying it's what he would need to happen. Very different things. Olav Naim gets turn 3 all wrong and is now down on his time quite significantly. Finley O'Reilly is not down on his time. Oh, goes over the gravel and now he is. If you saw what happened with Kieran and Robert at Imola, anything could happen. Yeah, no, absolutely, you're right. No, you're right. Anything can happen, especially at a track that is this hard to drive in these specific cars as well. Anything could well happen. Finley O'Reilly can't quite get it right through turn 1. Robert Bjorkman isn't improving, he's on an outlap. Luke Wilson also on an outlap, lining up to start a lap. No, he's not. He's continued straight on and looks to be returning to garage. Bing! There he goes. Finley O'Reilly up again. Not by loads, just by a little bit. He really needs to finish ahead of Michael Pocomandy tonight. He really needs to finish ahead of Michael Pocomandy. Or at least only one position behind Michael Pocomandy. Finley O'Reilly returns to garage. 7 minutes of qualifying to go. Still plenty of time for people to improve. As I say that, Kevin Picchieri in the number 58 Maserati is improving. 0.7 of a second. Not going to find him any grid positions as it stands, but it's going to move him closer to the back of the pack. Oof, wobbly. And slidey through the final corner. But still going to be a chunk of time found, about 5.5 tenths, 5 tenths across the line. It's a 31.6 for Kevin Picchieri. Hello AGP Llama, how are you? Luke has PayPal'd Kieran some money to block. Yeah, he's going to need to PayPal him quite a lot, I would expect. Oh, the gap at the top. 0.065 of a second. Robert Bjorkman has improved and I didn't see it. It was his last lap where he improved actually. So close. If anything, Luke Wilson needs to get out on track and just lay down a slightly improved lap time. Not by loads, but a tenth or two would make it so much kind of smoother for him and less pressured. No improvement for Robert Bjorkman this time. Everyone else is invalid except Night Last and the CRS Racing Audi. He's a 10.5 up. At the moment would find his way to P6 and just almost within a second of the pole sitter Luke Wilson as it stands. 0.2 up coming out of turn 3. That would definitely put him into contention for P5 with Michael Pocomandy, who wouldn't want that, really, in his race with Finley O'Reilly. Michael Pocomandy will want to start as high up as possible. Ideally, he'll want Night Last to slot in between them. Realistically. And it is an improvement for Night Last, but he stays 7th. Oh no, it's not an improvement for Night Last. He lost the time through the final few corners, sorry. and is now pulling over back to the pits, I believe, with 3 minutes 35 left to go on the clock. Luke Wilson is down. Robert Bjorkman is up, but he's only at the very start of his lap. Kieran Macy is up. He's a chunk into his lap, but losing time as it stands out of turn 3. Olav Naim has called it at turn 1. Back to the pit lane, and I expect probably straight back out again. Indeed it is. Light last off the track again, letting people by the looks of things. Finley O'Reilly, 5/10 up at the moment, and this lap is valid, I believe. It might be an outlap actually for Finley O'Reilly. Robert Bjorkman is 2/10 up. He's coming to the final corner. Gets it a little bit sideways. It's a 10th up, 10th and a half. For Robert Bjorkman, it's going to be pole position for Robert Bjorkman by 0.065 of a second. He's just taken over the pole position spot by exactly the same amount he was second just a few seconds ago, actually. And this is going to be last chance for Luke Wilson. He's going to get to the line and going to restart, reset, get out for another lap, and hope that he can find the time he needs to go to P1. He needs to finish comfortably ahead. Robert Bjorkman pulls over. He feels that's all he can do. Back to the pit lane for Robert Bjorkman. Luke Wilson has no such luxuries. He needs to push on. Needs a pole position out of this, realistically. Very good through turn 1. Through the kink, turn 2. Up towards turn 3, heavy braking zone, tight hairpin, difficult on the exit, especially when you're on the throttle. Loses a little bit of time, breaking even at the moment with his lap. Finley O'Reilly just ahead of him is 0.5 of a second up. No such luck for Luke Wilson at the moment. Still breaking even is Luke Wilson. Oh, there is improvement. There is improvement for Luke Wilson. There's the 0.065 he needs. He just needs to keep it through these final 2 corners. He's done it. He's done it. It's a 10th up and gaining for Luke Wilson. It's going to be pole position in the final round by 0.065 of a second. How do they keep on trading it like this? Luke Wilson in the LP racing car takes pole. O'Reilly ends up P5 after finding a lot of time on his final lap for a 29.7. Michael Pocamandi's lap is invalid. That's going to be all from him. Guilherme Goncalves is the last man on a lap. On a valid lap at least, I don't believe. Oh no, Olav Naim is on a lap as well. Actually, I tell a lie. And he is improving. But so is Guilherme Goncalves, improving at the moment, only half a tenth. If he can find some time through these final 2 corners, it might be a position gain. Loses time in the penultimate corner. Gains out the final. No. Nothing there for him. Says the session has ended, but the cars have not been taken back to the garage yet. It is still running as it stands. And no, Olaf Naim decides that's all that he can do. So Luke Wilson takes the final pole position here by 0.065 of a second. I'm going to throw up the standings for you, and I'm going to be back in just a second. Just going to go and grab myself a drink. I will return as soon as possible. Here we go then. We are underway for the formation lap here in Austria. And Luke Wilson leads the way with Robert Bjorkman right up his inside coming to the first corner. Of course, success penalties mean that Luke Wilson has to serve 10 seconds in his pit stop, with Robert Bjorkman having to serve 15, and Adam McDavid has to serve 5 after taking a podium last time out. Lots of support in chat for Olav Naim and also for Michael Pocomandy in the 444 and the 42 car respectively. One a Maserati, one a KTM. The KTM, of course, with that very distinctive design where it doesn't have a door. That whole kind of pod bit at the front just lifts up. Yeah, something a bit different. Because why would you need a door, right? When the whole front bit kind of just lifts open. Pretty cool. Anyways, here we go. Coming towards the final couple of corners now. Grid is forming. And it's all going to be about who can get a better start here. We don't start on the start-finish checkered line. We start at the white line just after it. We will be green. Now, here we go. Luke Wilson gets the better start than Robert Bjorkman. That's exactly what he needed. Robert Bjorkman, oh, looked like there was going to be a move from Olav Naim. There wasn't, and that gap is already open. Finlay O'Reilly is right alongside Olav Naim right now, and has gotten ahead of Michael Pocomandy. That's exactly what he needed at the start of this race, was to be ahead of Michael Pocomandy. Olav Naim still on the inside, and Michael Pocomandy might get back past Finlay O'Reilly here. Finlay O'Reilly rejoins. That was safe, it's fine. Side by side, Guillaume von Goncalves, Michael Pocomandy is right alongside Finlay O'Reilly. Oh, almost contact. Finlay O'Reilly has to take avoiding action. The right thing to do there, undoubtedly, as Goncalves is up to P, I believe, 6 at the moment. P7. And Finlay O'Reilly now having a battle with the CRS car. And Luke Wilson already a second ahead of Robert Bjorkman. Luke Wilson maybe with something in the tank that we did not know about in qualifying. Kieran Macy is keeping Robert Bjorkman honest at the moment. Just 3/10 behind. Oh, I say, until he gets all sorts of slidey through the final corner. Gap immediately opens to 0.6 of a second. First lap times are through, and Luke Wilson, yeah, 0.9 of a second faster. Remember, there is a mandatory pit stop in this race. The number 66 car has gone around at turn 1. That's Guillaume Goncalves. Not sure what happened there. I'm sure we'll find out. He is now plumb last, unfortunately, and Finlay O'Reilly, I think, might have been involved in that, because he is now P9, P8, make that, as he gets past as he gets past Calvin Pakiri. Not what Finlay O'Reilly needed. At the moment, Michael Pocomandy is going to take away that P4 from him in the standings, and the gap at the front is 1.6 seconds now. Robert Bjorkman being kept really honest here by Finlay O'Reilly. Big move from the Mercedes of Adam McDavid. Michael Pocomandy gets the switchback into the final corner there, side by side. Adam McDavid gets the better run. And Michael Pocomandy overtaken by Knight last as well. And suddenly, O'Reilly's position in the championship is safe again. Yeah, Robert Bjorkman appears to have found the gas pedal a little bit in that number 6 Maserati. This lap he's 0.6 of a second up, which means that him and Luke Wilson would be running pretty much identical pace this time. Kieran Macy not able to step up his pace in quite the same way. Gap is now open to 1.1. He's going to have to worry about Olaf Naim behind him before too much longer. And Adam McDavid still having to think about Knight last as well in P6. Finlay O'Reilly now just 1.4 seconds off the back of Michael Pocomandy. He's caught him by, God, probably going on 2 seconds this lap. Two tenths now the gap between Olav Naim and Kieran Macy. Are we going to see a move here? Into turn 3.1. Kieran Macy goes defensive, sets to the inside of turn 3. Opens it back up when he realises that Olav Naim isn't going to be able to outbrake him. But Olav Naim gets the better run on the inside. That's rare through there. Not enough of a run though. Kieran O'Reilly. God. Like he hit DRS down there or something. Just waltzed away in a straight line. Robert Bjorkman, faster by a tenth last lap, is again finding time. Gap is back to a second between Luke Wilson and Robert Bjorkman as it stands. Kieran O'Reilly. Why am I calling him that? Sorry, it's because I'm thinking about Finlay O'Reilly. Kieran Macy has Olav Naim right behind him. Kieran O'Reilly. Good God. Is it going to be a move from Olav Naim into turn 1 this time? Alongside in the braking. But coasts out to the exit. And Kieran Macy is going to stay ahead for now. Finlay O'Reilly is right behind Michael Pocomandy right now. This could be interesting if he can manage to get past. Pit window is going to be opening, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, with about 32.5 minutes to go. Something around then. Gap at the front is 0.9 of a second. Luke Wilson this time opening the gap a little bit on this lap rather than losing ground. Gap is a bang on a second. Finley O'Reilly right behind Michael Pocamandi. 27.5 minutes remaining. I knew it was something and a half, I just couldn't remember which. Oh, Finley O'Reilly wide at turn 5. Possibly looking for a better exit. Doesn't particularly get it. I mean, this sector of the lap, not particularly the most important corner to get a run out of either. Olav Naim just 0.1 of a second behind Kieran Macy now. 0.6 is the gap between Robert Bjorkman and Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson had a moment, I think, in the final sector. Ended up 6/10 down that lap. Not what he would have wanted. Yeah, last lap was 4/10 slower for Luke Wilson than it was for Robert Bjorkman. Five seconds for Calvin Piccheri for causing an incident. .7 the gap, so opening again a little bit. 0.6. These guys, when they both run a perfect lap, are very, very close to each other on pace. This is going to be brilliant. Night last, right behind Adam McDavid. At the same time, Pocamandi is right behind. It's only just ahead of Finley O'Reilly. Here we go. Is this going to be a move for Finley O'Reilly this time? Michael Pocamandi, all sorts of squirrely. Forces Finley O'Reilly to the outside in the penultimate corner, turn 9. Finley O'Reilly puts it around the outside and gets ahead. For now, Michael Pocamandi breaks slightly later through the final corner. Finley O'Reilly takes the position ahead of Michael Pocamandi. At the same time, Olav Naim thinks about a move into turn 1, can't quite make it work. And this will be the target now for Finley O'Reilly, and Adam McDavid, is to catch up to the back of these guys. They can all see them. They're all on the same straight at the same time. They're just not quite close enough to each other. Luke Wilson set a new fastest lap last time out of 29.3. Robert Bjorkman was faster, but crucially had an off-track. That lap was not valid, as Olav Naim finally manages to get past Kieran Macy for P3 overall for Olav Naim. And it's a Maserati podium as it stands. Hey, Luna Jones, what's up? How are you, man? I'm very well, thank you. Just watching some brilliant racing here in these GT2 cars. Night last gets past Adam McDavid. Adam McDavid making a mistake in the TOGA Motorsport's Mercedes into turn 4 there. Unfortunate for him. But yeah, I'm very good, thank you, Luna. How are you? Kieran Macy still all over the back of Olav Naim. I have a funny feeling he isn't going to hold on to this position particularly easily. It's going to be a fight all the way. And Guillaume Goncalves closing up now behind Calvin Piccheri for P9. I'm good, thank you. I'm very well. Yeah, just excited to be watching this racing. Very good racing here, as always. That lap, Luke Wilson 0.02 of a second slower than Robert Bjorkman at the front. That's all there is in it at the moment, but that gap is going to open significantly in the pit stops because Luke Wilson has 5 seconds less of penalties to serve than Robert Bjorkman does. Kieran Macy 0.1 behind Olav Naim. Oh, there's almost contact. Finley O'Reilly lets him keep the position, but that is going to 2,000ths. No, I meant 200ths. Lap times were 29.667 and 29.647. 200ths, exactly. Oh, Adam McDavid and Night Last are having another battle. No, 2,000ths is their fastest lap times overall. Yeah. Oh, Night Last is wide. Adam McDavid might get the run here towards the final corner. Finley O'Reilly, what happened to Finley O'Reilly? Not Finley O'Reilly, Kieran Macy. Was there contact with Olaf Naim? He's ended up dropping all the way down to 6th now. I missed that. We're going to watch it back. What's happened here? Oh, he's gone off. Big time. No damage. I don't think he hit the wall, but Adam McDavid threading the needle there between the three of them and comes out on top. Brilliant from Adam McDavid there, showing Earl Bamber how it's done, threading the needle between the three of them. For anyone who was watching the World Endurance Championship 6 Hours of Spa, you'll get my Earl Bamber reference. Kieran Macy alongside Night Last and nose ahead of Night Last, half the car ahead of Night Last. Brakes later into turn 5, but that's going to leave him on the outside and vulnerable. That's a lie. Kieran Macy gets the better run into turn 6. Is he going to be able to stay ahead? Night Last kind of half puts a nose in, doesn't quite keep it there. Kieran Macy might have the better run here towards turn 9. Indeed he does. Kieran Macy holds that position for B5 as it stands. Night Last coming back up the inside actually into turn 9. Two Audis fighting away on track. In fact, all three Audis, as Finley O'Reilly is now directly behind them again. Robert Bjorkman still right on the tail of Luke Wilson. Last lap, both of those guys had invalid lap times. Olaf Naim now coming to turn 1. 7/10 of a lap is the difference in pace there. Night Last still right behind Kieran Macy. Oh, gap momentarily opening up to 0.8 of a second there. Possibly a little bit of a mistake from Robert Bjorkman. It would be very rare, but possibly. Yeah, 0.7. Gap has opened. 0.8 again now. This is all Luke Wilson really needs to do, is just hold this gap. He's going to gain 5 free seconds in the pit stops. Kieran Macy closing in behind Adam McDavid now. And last lap, Luke Wilson 0.2 faster than Robert Bjorkman. This lap, you cannot say the same. Although Robert Bjorkman extending the track limits there might have got a warning. Whilst I've been talking, Guillaume Goncalves has gotten past Calvin Piqueri. 0.2 is the gap now between Kieran Macy and Adam McDavid. Night Last is managing to close up to both of them in a straight line. Not really sure how. That Mercedes is pretty good in a straight line, huh? Up the inside goes Kieran Macy. Ooh, gets all sorts of squirrely on the exit, and Adam McDavid, I believe, is going to go straight back past him. Unless he can unlock a little bit more power from that Audi. Not this time. Adam McDavid will stay ahead. No, he won't. Kieran Macy makes the move up the inside into turn 4, makes it stick, and up to P4 for Kieran Macy now. Still close behind though, Adam McDavid, still tucked in there. 0.6 is the gap at the front. Last time out, Luke Wilson was a tenth faster than Robert Bjorkman again. It's interesting, Luke Wilson seems to be using slightly more of the track, and here we go. Pits are going to open in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Pit window is open. You have got 10 minutes to make your pit stops. And in those pit stops there will be 4 cars serving penalties. 3 of them success penalties, 1 a racing incident penalty. Calvin Bakiri will be serving 5 seconds for an incident that he was involved in. And Adam McDavid will be serving 5 seconds as a success penalty for coming P3 at the last race. In fact, Adam McDavid is coming straight into the pit lane. From the looks of how he's setting up that penultimate corner, indeed he does. Into the pit lane comes Adam McDavid straight away. Luke Wilson and Robert Bjorkman staying out on track. So Adam McDavid will go stationary, be stationary for 5 seconds, then the car will lift up in the air. Gap at the front is 5 tenths now. That's interesting. So last time out, Robert Bjorkman was 4 tenths faster than Luke Wilson. It's really swings and roundabouts with these guys. Four tenths is the gap. That time Luke Wilson was faster by 0.06 of a second. Taking very different lines here, and he's going to look to use Michael Pocomandi defensively. Robert Bjorkman is going to try and use Michael Pocomandi for a tow. Can't blame him. Michael Pocomandi will need to get out of the way. He is a lap down now. And indeed he does. He doesn't make it too easy for Robert Bjorkman. In fact, Luke Wilson might be thanking Michael Pocomandi here. That's gained him some time. Again, 0.7 now the gap. Knight last in the pit lane from P6. He doesn't have any penalties to serve. It's only the 2 at the front now that have penalties to serve, as Adam McDavid has already done his visit to the pit lane and has come out in P8. There he is. Eight tenths the gap now. It is mandatory fuel and tyres, I believe, in the pit window. And neither of the leaders come to the pit lane this time. I expect when one of them comes in, the other will come in pretty much straight away. We'll wait and see. Knight last comes out just behind, oh, quite significantly behind Adam McDavid, actually, now that I look at it. That's interesting, because Knight last didn't have any penalties to serve, but has come out a good chunk, probably 13 or 14 seconds behind. 9/10 and a second, 1.1 second. Here we go, Luke Wilson opening the taps. Is this going to be his pit lap? Now that he's opened those taps, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, he won't have to pull over to the right because he's got enough gap. So he can just send it into the pit lane as he likes. And no, he stays out. Robert Bjorkman stays out. Track temperature has increased. Now 23 degrees air, 26 degrees track. And last lap, Luke Wilson, half a second faster. It's interesting seeing the difference in lines in turn 1. Luke Wilson brakes kind of early, uses the slow in, fast out method. Robert Bjorkman brakes a little bit later and carries slightly more speed through the apex, but accelerates later. Really interesting to see how these two guys drive slightly differently. Oh, I had a weird ping spike there. Not really sure why. 1.2 seconds now the gap. Luke Wilson again extending it this lap. And it looks like Robert Bjorkman's coming to the pit lane. Another weird lag spike for me as drivers struggle to turn the corners. Don't know what's going on. I'm not dropping any frames here. And my upload speed seems completely fine. But yeah, it's Robert Bjorkman to the pit lane. Luke Wilson is going to open the taps and will be in either this time or next time. He'll have to be in either the end of this lap or the end of next lap, because otherwise he won't have done his pit stop by the time he needs to. Olav Nimes in the pit lane. Kieran Macy's in the pit lane. Looks like Guillaume Goncalves is going to be in the pit lane as well. Indeed he is. So I believe Finlay O'Reilly is the yardstick here. I think he's the first driver to have completed a pit stop. Indeed he is. So this is going to be the yardstick to see where all those other guys are. And they're going to be out well clear. The 42 car's already out. Crucially ahead of Robert Bjorkman. That could be huge. That could be huge for Luke Wilson. It's not going to be enough. He needs Robert Bjorkman to finish 4th or below. 4th or below. As it stands, that's where he needs him to be. And at the moment, it's not going to be enough. But there is still 19 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Things could well change. They have well changed in past races. Luke Wilson again, just turning up the heat a little bit. 29.5 that lap, very good. Robert Bjorkman is going to need to get past Olav Naim pretty sharpish. And he's going to have to do it cleanly. He can't afford... Well, I mean, he can afford to finish where he is now. But I doubt he wants to. Necessarily, you know. So Luke Wilson is still out on track. I believe at the moment, if we average it out, he's in the lead by about 40 seconds. Something like that, 40 to 45 seconds. So he's also possibly going to have to watch out for Olav Naim. I think he'll manage to come out ahead, because if Robert Bjorkman came out that close behind with an extra 5 seconds, then that 5 seconds taken away should be okay for Luke Wilson. Should be okay, but we'll wait and see. It's all about the lap times. 56.7 outlap for Olav Naim. Luke Wilson is going to be in the pits this lap. He's got no other option. Has to pit this lap, does Luke Wilson. Indeed he does. Moves over to the right hand side of the track already. In he comes. Robert Bjorkman is just 0.6 of a second. behind Olaf Naim right now. This is a big gap. I would be very, very surprised if the number 420 car of Luke Wilson doesn't come out rather comfortably in the lead. Still trundling down pit lane at the moment, but it means he's going to have a very short run to get out of pit lane. There he is, he's stationary now. This is going to be close. This is going to be close with Olaf Naim. It's going to be a 40-second stop for Luke Wilson. I don't know if he's going to come out ahead. I think Olaf Naim might lead this race. Luke Wilson drops already. He must have put in like a litre of fuel and just served the penalty. If so, that is insanely smart from Luke Wilson. He's going to come out well clear of the pack. By more than 5 seconds. Quite easily more than 5 seconds, I would say. He's clear by around 7 seconds, 7.5 seconds clear at the moment. That is big for Luke Wilson, but he needs something to happen to Robert Bjorkman to make him finish 4th or below. And at the moment, Robert Bjorkman is pretty much inevitable. Although fighting now with Olaf Naim is losing him time, it's not going to be enough. Luke Wilson either needs Kieran Macy to catch up to Robert Bjorkman and Olaf Naim, and for that to happen he needs Olaf Naim to continue to hold Robert Bjorkman behind, which at the moment he is doing. The gap is closing. Adam McDavid gets past Finlay O'Reilly, who I think might have had a slight issue there. Gap is 0.4 here, with 1.4 seconds behind. Kieran Macy 1.9 behind. He was faster that lap by 4/10 on both cars ahead. 4/10 and 5/10 respectively for Robert Bjorkman and Olaf Naim. The gap in front is pretty much bang on 8 seconds over the line. Here we go. Is this going to be the move from Robert Bjorkman? Not this time. Oh, it is. Olaf Naim goes too wide on the exit of turn 3, although he's got a slightly better run out the corner. No, Robert Bjorkman has the slightly better run out the corner. And unless Olaf Naim can do something here at turn 4, I think that might be it for the championship. Oh, Olaf Naim gets sideways. Manages to keep just behind Robert Bjorkman, but I think Robert Bjorkman is going to disappear somewhat quickly. Olaf Naim goes a little bit wide at turn 5, gets a better exit, now has to get out the throttle, and that is the gap already, 0.4 of a second. 0.5 of a second. Robert Bjorkman has lost time from having to go side by side with him though. And all Luke Wilson needs to do now is finish in the lead, and he takes, he's obviously stay ahead of Robert Bjorkman to take the win. But nothing that he can do now will impact the championship. The gap will be 30 points in the championship if this finishes how it currently is. The gap would be just 10 points if Robert Bjorkman were to finish 3rd. But right now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Robert Bjorkman has stamped his authority over the rest of the field, apart from Luke Wilson. That is Calvin Bakiri, I believe, off the road, letting people through. Indeed it is. Weird place to do it. Whatever, it works. Kieran Macy closing the gap to Olav Naim right now. Closed it by almost a second that last lap, with 12 minutes to go. Track temperature is continuing to creep up, 27 degrees now. .4 the gap between Kieran Macy and Olav Naim now. 0.3, 29.9 for Kieran Macy, finding some pace in this final stint, looking to get past Olav Naim and spoil the Maserati fun at the front. .3. This is going to be close to the end now. That time Kieran Macy losing a little bit of time to Olav Naim. I'll tell you who wasn't losing time last lap. Luke Wilson continues to extend the gap by about 4/10 a lap, consistently for the last few laps. Six tenths of a second, 5/10 of a second. This gap is kind of flirting with being close and not being close. Lots of time, no actually time lost there for Kieran Macy, another 2/10. battle coming possibly here. Or actually, has Finley O'Reilly just gotten past Night Last? Doesn't matter because he's in the gravel. So Night Last is going to get back past. If that overtake has just happened, which I think it has. 6 minutes and 40 seconds left of the race to go. .2 the gap between Olaf Naim and Kieran Macy, as Kieran Macy has managed to make that move happen now. I think I missed that into turn 3. Oh, Olaf Naim very close under braking there. I don't think there's going to be anything that could happen to Robert Bjorkman now. That gap is open to 1.1 second. Yeah, I think this is pretty wrapped up. Finley blew his engine again. Ah. How's he managed to do that? You just need to be less crazy on the downshift, man. Still waiting. Here, Olaf Naim has managed to close back in again. As Night Last might make a last lap move on Adam McDavid. This is not going to be the final lap. The next lap is going to be the final lap. As Luke Wilson will cross the line with about 50 seconds left to go.
Alright, man, the leader is on the final lap. Give it a
And
final
indeed it is now the final lap. And it's going to be a pretty easy win for Luke Wilson. He had to hold off Robert Bjorkman for a short while, but not for ages, and has since pulled away and made it a relatively large gap for what is going to be overall a pretty easy win. For Luke Wilson through the penultimate corner. Now through the final corner, and Luke Wilson is going to win the final race here of the GT2 Championship
has finished the race.
Season 1 here at FGTRL. It's not going to be enough to take the championship overall. It's going to be 30 points between him and Robert Bjorkman in the end, as Robert Bjorkman is your inaugural GT2 European Series Championship here in Season 1. Kieran Macy crosses the line with Olav Naim just 3 tenths behind him at the end there to round out the podium. Not quite the Maserati domination that we've seen at previous races. Adam McDavid crosses the line to finish P5 with Knight last, shortly behind him finishing P6. Michael Pocamandi is coming round to be the last man on the lead lap to take P7 as Guillaume Goncalves finishes P8. Calvin Piqueri in P9, and Finlay O'Reilly, unfortunately, having lost the engine in that car, is now P10. And that is going to be everything here tonight, as Robert Bjorkman in this beautiful Tasty Herring racing car becomes the inaugural... Oh, come on, can we not find a better camera than this? Bruh. Becomes the inaugural GT2 European Championship winner here at FGTRL. That is going to be everything for tonight, and I am going to head off. Thank you very much for being here with me tonight, and I'm sure I will see you here soon, whether it's for a Toga race or for another FGTRL race. Thank you very much for being here with me tonight and for giving me all the love and all the attention in chat. It's been very good to talk to you all. Have a good one, and I will see you next time.